Hi, Trevor. I assume that the other students are, they're entering the class. Oh, I actually don't have a share screen. I'm seeing Trevor, Cassandra, Romario. Are you guys there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening.
Okay, just checking. I'm just waiting until other persons come into the class so I can I'll turn on my camera. I hope you guys can also turn on your cameras as well. Well, for those of us who can. All right. I think it's 19 persons in the class. That's based on the list that was sent to me. So let's wait to see if we have at least 9 persons, which is called a quorum, before we begin. Are you guys coming from another class? By chance, you're coming from another class?
Yes, sir. Some of us are.
Okay. All right. So persons are coming in. So let's just wait a few minutes. So I can wait a few minutes until the other persons are here. And then we can discuss as well Friday. I don't know why they put a class on Friday, and I actually live in Canada, so I'm 1 hour ahead. Where I'm in Canada, I'm 1 hour ahead. It's actually after 8 here. So I don't know. We probably let's discuss what we're going to do with Friday and how we can organize Friday, or just let it remain the same. I'm seeing is it Alternate? Did I pronounce her name correct? And Jodian.
Yes, sir. Hi.
Hi. All right. So Alternate. Not Alternate. Jodian, you are there?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
All right. Good evening. All right. Just waiting for other persons to join us. At least 9 persons before we begin. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, good evening, everybody. I'm seeing that the class is full. I see 13 people, so that's almost a quorum. Let me, either you say hi to me or could you type hi in the chat? You can say it verbally or you can type in the chat. I see some familiar names.
Hi, sir. Good night or good evening.
Good evening, Jessica. All right, and I'm seeing a lot of highs in the chat. Yes, so I'm seeing Romario, Rona, Kumiko, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Sharna, Latona Dunn. That name sounds very familiar. Latona, have I taught you before?
Hi, sir. No, you haven't, but we were colleagues.
Oh, okay, because I know the name. Right. Okay, welcome. Trevor Brown, Tanika, I'm seeing, is this Sasheen? Patricia. Yes, hi to everybody. Hi. All right, so this is our first class. So usually what we do in the first class is just a general introduction before we go any further. We usually don't necessarily get into any lectures in the first class, but because it's summer school, I don't know if that might happen today. So let me give you a general introduction about myself, and then I will allow you to introduce yourselves. All right, so my name is Robin Clark. I actually recently resigned from Excelsior. I was the head of marketing there for about 2 years. Prior to that, I was a public relations officer and also in charge of communication. I was also a senior lecturer teaching communication, teaching academic writing, communication, public relations, marketing, those kinds of courses. And also, what else? What else do I normally say about myself? Oh yes, I live in Canada now. So I live in Ontario. So at this point in time, we're in our summer period. So when it's summer, we're usually 1 hour ahead of Jamaica. And this is only in Ontario because the other provinces themselves, either they are ahead or behind Jamaica. So now I live here. I've taught at UA. I've taught UTech students. I've taught at UCC. I've done a bunch of stuff, all right? And I've also been on radio. I was a radio host for about a year, working at Nationwide on a program called Love and Sex. Here in Canada, I work at a university, Yorkville University. I'm their outreach advisor, where I work with partner schools. It involves part sales, part public relations. So I'm still kind of actively involved in public relations. And if you Google some of the press releases written about Excelsior, I would have had an and in it between 2015 up to 2022, not after February though. So I have lots of experience in terms of even your project, and I'm not going to get into the specificity of the project, but I've also advised up and coming artists, and I think that's the direction in which I want to keep the major assignment, where you're going to break up into groups and make you work with up and coming artists. Just to develop develop a public relations plan for them and execute some aspects of the plan. For example, getting them on places like on stage or on radio, TV, wherever it is possible for you. All right, so that's just a general introduction of myself. Now I want for you to introduce yourself, but how I want you to do it, I want you to, of course, you can, of course, state your name. I think all of you are tourism students, right? Hospitality and entertainment management students in 3rd year, if I'm correct. Yes?
Nope.
No, okay.
No, sir. 4th year. We didn't do any elective for 3rd year.
Oh, so you're actually exiting. That's really nice. You're your final lap.
Yeah.
Yes, that must be good, because I remember. So this is your final semester then. This is it.
That's right, sir.
There you go. I remember those days. Oh my God. When I did my first degree. Oh yeah, I did my first degree at UA. It took me 6 years to do my first degree because I was homeless for about 2 years during that period of time. So I had to be full-time, part-time, full-time. Then I had to stop, all kind of stuff. So it took me a very long time to finish my first degree, 6 years. Then when I was finished, oh, somebody, Kumiko is in 3rd year. Okay. And Romario. So they have another year to go. Yes. But most persons are in 4th year. And then I did my master's, which took me 2 years. That was a slug. It was really difficult. I did a master's in cultural studies. Then after I finished my master's, I did a postgraduate diploma in English language education at UA. I did all of those things at UA. That was fun. I actually loved that program. I graduated with distinction. I enjoyed doing that program. Then I left Jamaica, come to Canada, did a postgraduate certificate at Centennial College, distinction again. Then I also did a diploma in teaching English as a second language in Canada. I was doing both programs at the same time. And I'm now doing a certificate at York University in digital marketing. And I plan to start my MBA, doing another master's, start my MBA at another, I think it's called Canada West University, focusing primarily on marketing and digital marketing. Yeah, so.
No, sir. No, you make me feel down. You overqualified.
No. I want to tell you that it's more for inspiration than anything else. I grew up in Tivoli Gardens, and I know many persons would know that the press release out on Tivoli Gardens is that it is the Mother Garrison. So that's where I grew up. I went to Tivoli High School. So again, you are expected to fail. I just kind of fought my way through, and I say to my friends and to my colleagues, and even I have a nephew who's actually at U2. I say to all of them that it is because of my education why I'm even sitting in front of you. So I feel very honored, and I usually, when I make mention of my biography, it's not to brag, it's more to inspire, because I'm sure some persons would probably, you're in my position when I was homeless, when I was struggling, when I had a lot of difficulties. So, you know, you're in the right place. And I hope that this experience in the course is just another stepping stone towards accomplishing your dream. And of course, there's no need to be rich. It's just about being successful in the sense that you can, you know, drive a car, probably buy a house, and even travel. You know, so it's more inspiration than anything else. It's nothing about bragging or anything. All right. So I usually try to inspire and motivate my students from the get-go. I'm very, very passionate. Oh, I'm not recording. I should be recording. Where is that record button? Oh, yes, it's actually recording, automatically recording. Yeah, so it's more motivation than anything else, as I said before. I'm very passionate. I'm a very passionate teacher. You'll see that sometimes I can be miserable. So I'm giving you the warning. Don't take it personal. My students always say, sir, when I just meet, I don't like, you know, because they're just miserable. And then when they get to actually know me, they kind of get used to me. No, I'm in Canada. Canada is a very polite society. So I'm kind of slowly softening or mellowing, as we'd say in Jamaica, to kind of be more very polite, very, very polite, you know, because I do teach. I've done some teaching in Canada as well, and they are extremely sensitive to sometimes to a fault. All right. So what I want you to do is just to introduce yourself. Tell me your name. Thank you very much. Is that what, Cassandra? Thanks. Tell me your name, and I want for you to use an image. I want you to find an image that really reflects your personality. So you're going to find an image that reflects your personality and tell us how the image reflects your personality. And also to what are your plans after you have completed your degree. All right. So let me put some of it in the chat. So we said name, image. So if you can share screen, that would be good. Image that reflects personality and why. Plans for the future after degree completion. All right, so it's in the chat. Everybody seeing it?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's I'll give you about 5 minutes, because I know you might have to Google the image. You can Google the image. So any image is good. All right. And if you're not able to share, what you can probably do is just to put it in the chat, and I'll probably try and share a screen for you. All right. If you can't share your image, although I would prefer if you share, but if you can't, you can share it in the chat. And then when I'm going to call your names according to the list that Zoom organizes the particular way. So I'm just going to go according to that list. All right. So I'll give you 5 minutes, guys, just to find your image, just to get your thoughts together, and then we'll share. All right. Is that okay? Can I get a yes?
Yes, sir, no problem.
All right. So 5 minutes, guys. I'm going to turn off my camera because I'm going to use the 5 minutes and at least grab a bite too as well. I'm super hungry because I've been working from 10 to 6. All right, we should be ready by now. So I'm going to start with the first person on my list is Alternate. Alternate, go ahead.
Just a second, sir.
Okay, and you guys, are you hearing me very well when I'm talking?
Yes,
No,
sir.
sir, I'm not hearing very well. You're low.
Not hearing very, I'm a bit low. All right, let me try. Let me change my, because sometimes I have this thing that I don't like putting on, but let me use this one. Hold on. Is this better? Hearing me better now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is usually, but because my ears is pierced, sometimes it squeezes my. Okay. All right, Alternate, are you ready now?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you have shared your image, so let me just bring it up. I'm seeing a graph. Is the graph you want to, that's the one you want to use, right?
No, I'm trying to share from WhatsApp. Hold on. Just a
Okay,
second.
hold on. Do I need to enable you to share? I think so.
Hold on, sir. I'm trying to.
Yeah, because I clicked on the link you sent in the oh, that was by Damia.
I could send it in the chat. Hold on, sir. Let me just.
Yeah, you can send it in the chat, and then if anything, I'll share screen, because I know sometimes you might have a challenge in terms of sharing screen, and sometimes it does affect your connectivity. So I don't mind sharing. All right, so people go keep working out the logistics of that, because I don't want time to run out on us. Let me see. I think I'm seeing the image now. So let's share screen.
Okay. Should I explain this?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to go on it. Where is it? Are you seeing, everybody seeing the image?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes,
go ahead.
sir.
Okay. Good evening again, everyone. So this image for me, I am truly an introvert. Initially, I'll say to myself, I'm more reserved. But once I am out of my shell, I might interact, or as soon as I'm comfortable, I will speak with others who I'm comfortable with. But I will be by myself initially.
Yeah, and the other things, I think I asked you to speak to two other things in terms of, plans after you have completed your degree or something like that.
Oh, I honestly am not sure currently. I was certain before COVID, but I feel like I'm off balance currently, and I'm just trying to find my way, find what my passion again. I hope I do so before I complete my studies, but for now, I'm just here.
What was your passion?
It was baking.
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 So something in
Well,
food.
it was cooking. And then I experienced practicals, and that's I switched to baking. I love baking now, but currently I'm not so passionate as I was before.
And you are studying tourism, right?
Hospitality.
Hospitality, yeah. Well, I suppose there are some other areas in hospitality that you probably can go into instead of if you're no longer passionate about like food and all that stuff. I'm sure there are many other umbrellas or many other areas on the umbrella of hospitality that you can go into, and they are actually recruiting now for the tourism, for the cruise ship industry. So I say to you guys, even though you're studying, if there's an opportunity that comes up, jump on it, and if it's paying very well, I would just seize the opportunity.
Makes sense.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Alternate. Next on my list is, I'm seeing Anya. Boyd, go ahead.
Let me try and share my screen.
It's a much bigger class than I anticipated. They sent me 19 students. I'm seeing 24.
Okay, so tell me if you see my screen.
Yeah, I think this is your image, right? Yeah.
Yes. So my name is Anya Boyd, and this is definitely a personality pick of me where I can say that in relation to the characteristics and the personality of who SpongeBob was, he was very jovial and happy. Always wanted to help Patrick, help everybody, depending on what they're doing. And then it also, to add this picture, you can tell that he's really stressed out. He's crying, but he's still making a peanut butter sandwich, regardless of him crying. So for me, that basically identifies that for me, I'll get anything done regardless of my emotion
Okay.
and
Yeah.
how I feel about anything. So yeah.
Okay. Plans after you complete your degree?
I have no plans. Literally, I'm just going with the flow. Whatever God leads me to do, I will continue. But as it is right now, I have no idea. But I know that I will have an idea soon enough.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Anya. Next on the list is, let me go to participants. I'm seeing Dama. Is it Damia Douglas?
Daima, sir.
Dahima Douglas, go ahead.
Right. Okay, so I sent you something in the chat, sir.
Okay, let me just check one sec. Is it that you want to share a graph?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, just double checking to make sure. All right, here it is. Go ahead.
Okay, so the name is Daima Douglas Thompson. My personality is really and truly, as though you see the graph, very moody. It's not easily read. That is me. Also, I'm very reserved. I tend to read people by not their speech, but more of their action, their face expression. And as I said, a very moody person. My plans for the future is to be in the field of accounting. That's my passion. That's what I love to do. And so I'm looking closer and closer in that area.
So is that your major or is that your major?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, so this is an elective for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right, thank you very, very much. Next on our list is, let me just go. Jessica.
Hey, sir, I hope I never mean it because I actually heard, I never know I was supposed to get an image to describe my personality.
You can speak to it if you didn't get a chance to get an image.
Well, I have an image, but it wasn't really what you asked for.
If it reflects you, then it's what I asked for.
All right, no problem.
Yes, your screen is yes, we are seeing your screen.
So I like to say I'm an elephant, because it symbolizes good luck, power, strength, and prosperity. So I like to say I'm an elephant as I try to embody these stuff as an inner city product.
Okay. Any plans after the future? Any plans for after you've completed? Oh, sorry, my bad. Let me shut up.
So, the plans after degree is career growth, especially where I currently work, which I'd like to not say who knows. Training and development, as I like to interact with people. I like to coach, teach, and skill development as well.
Okay. So is your major HR? Well, I think that's what you need to do your master's in, but continue.
And I want to do my master's as soon as I'm finished with my bachelor's.
In HR, right?
Hopefully, I'm looking at something education, maybe HR, because I like to teach in a sense. So
do HR, you get more money. Take it from me. Do HR. You can do your master's in HR and still teach. You just go and when you finish your master's, you can then go and do some courses in teaching. But if you really like training and coaching and all of that, and helping people to develop, I think HR is a better area than teaching.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Jessica. Next we have on our list is this Jody or Jody K? I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it.
Hi, good night. It's Jody K.
Okay.
So I'm unable to share my screen so you're saying we should share my chat and speak like describe us?
Mm-hmm.
Don't have any picture to share.
All right, go ahead still. But we're not hearing you so well though. I'm not sure if you're speaking.
My device. It's my device not working.
Do you have an earpiece? Because sometimes if you don't have an earpiece, it makes audibility a little bit challenging.
No, sir, I don't have any. Sorry.
All right. Okay. I think I'm hearing like a fan or something blowing in the phone. I don't know if you can probably pause the fan or something.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so being that I don't have the picture, what should I be doing?
You're going to just do similar to what everybody else has been doing. Just speak to your personality and what is it that you intend to do after you have completed your degree.
Well, I'm a humble individual, not really a person of few words, but as to the degree after finishing, I am not sure which I'm not sure what I will be doing after. Not that I will be going where the wind take me, but I'm not sure what would be next from here. But I will figure it out within the next 3 months.
Okay, what are you passionate about? If anything at all.
Nothing at all that can come to mind now.
Okay. All right, thanks. Thanks much. I'm seeing, is this Jonelle Mills?
Yes, sir. And I must commend you on saying my name and you got it correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, sir. Sir, I'm going to share screen now, just a minute. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Oh, it's here. Screen. All right, sir, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so well, my name is Janelle Mills. So this is a panda, which is my spirit animal, which defines me as a Libra. And my it speaks about this personality as being attractive, cute as always, and also we like to spend quality time with others, and also we like to be in our own world. And also we are warm-hearted, and we are very delightful as well. So that's my personality as it goes towards my spirit animal as a panda.
Okay.
And what I want to do when I finish my degree, sir, when I first selected to major in tourism and hospitality, sir, I didn't had a career path because I know that in the tourism and the hospitality field, sir, you have a wide career. So if you decided to become, say for instance, travel agent, you can use your degree to become something else. So sir, I don't really have a plan, no, but wherever God decided to put me, I will go there, sir.
Okay, thank you so very much. All right, Cassandra, I see you share an image. So do you want me to share a screen for you?
Yes, sir. Please and thank you.
All right, so let me share a screen. I think I'm seeing a lion or
Yes,
several
sir,
lions.
correct.
All right, hold on.
All right, so my name is Cassandra Walters. This image completely defines who I am. Yes, I'm a Leo, most definitely very much territorial of my child, my partner, and my family members. Whatever it is that I put my mind to, most definitely I'm gonna get it and conquer it. Doing this degree, I'm currently in the position that I wanted to do, because when I first working at the Houses of Parliament, I was employed as a payroll officer, and my aim was to move up the chain. So I went ahead and doing my bachelor's now. So I'm a senior payroll officer currently now, even though I'm not finished as yet, but that was my aim. So I'm currently in the career path that I want.
Oh, good. That's very nice. Thank you so very much. All right. That's Cassandra, and this is Kumiko. Kumiko, are you there? Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yes, sir. I'm
All right.
here. It's Komi.
Oh, it's Ko, not Ko. Kumiko. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the image that describes me: warm and just pleasant, not very fussy and polite, and get along with probably anyone. My future after this degree, every now and then my mind changes based on
Sounds like me.
what is happening in the world, but I just want to work in my field. Hopefully I get something in my field, which is tourism or entertainment. I am really interested in traveling, knowing new places. And that's basically it for me.
All right, thank you, Kumiko. They told me I have 19 students. I'm seeing 24. They gave me a list of 19 persons, and I'm seeing 24. All right, before anybody goes any further, let me just go through a number of things because I'm seeing far more persons than I anticipated. So let me just go through a number of things, and then we go back to our introduction. I think some persons may have joined us thereafter. I did introduce myself, and students started introducing themselves. I have a old copy of the course outline. I don't know that it has changed much, but I think it can give us some amount of guidance. So I'm going to share screen and find it. Let me share my share everything, because okay, I think I have my general here. Would it be here? Yeah. All right, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the course is called, I think when it's like this, you see it a little bit. The course is called Public Relations for the Performer. And we are going to focus on performers, different performers, and in this case, up and coming artists. All right, you're going to, as I said before, I'm going to break you up into groups. Now I'm seeing 24 persons. I actually had it, each group having 5 persons, so I probably need to create another group. I have some up and coming artists with whom I have conversations, one of whom is actually a past student of the school. And these are persons who already have some amount of content out there and some amount of notoriety, but they still need a push. And that's where you guys come in. This is something, and I'm going to actually show some templates, some examples. When I taught entertainment marketing at UA, my students, my media students and my culture students and my entertainment students did a phenomenal job, or did phenomenal. They accomplished a whole lot. They got persons onto TVJ morning time, on stage, persons were performing, they got them onto radio. They actually helped some of the artists to rename themselves, develop their brand image, develop their social media following, stuff like that. So it was really good. So it was entertainment marketing. So now you're just going to do it from a public relations perspective, because when I actually spoke to Dean Black and I said to her, I know that the course outline, well, the assessment part of it says something about nonprofit organizations. And I said, but the course is titled Public Relations for the Performer. And a performer is somebody who does some sort of entertainment in this case, because most persons, the course comes under hospitality and entertainment management. So I'm going to focus primarily on the performer instead of doing that part. The rationale, as it says, the performer must have an audience, yes, and part of what you will be doing well. So how the assignment, the major assignment that is designed is you have to develop a public relations plan for the artist, but there are parts of the plan that must be executed. All right, in other words, things that you have to do by the end of the course in order for you to get your grade. So for example, one, you have to create a viral moment for the artist. All right, and many of you, anybody, I'm almost sure all of us are on TikTok in some way, shape, or form.
No.
No.
No. Okay. All right. So now you're going to have to go and either Instagram or TikTok and create a viral moment for the artists. And there are many examples of how. And remember, it's not you personally. You're not personally putting your face on it. What you are the brain, or you're the public relations officer who's pushing out content on behalf of the artist. And I'm sure you should actually go on TikTok and follow some of the some Jamaicans who have created viral moments. Dino, for example, there are so many comedians, and I call them, these are not stand-up comedians, but they create comedic audiovisual content that go viral all over the world. All right, and it's just something similar that you're creating on behalf of the artist. Devin, I think it's Devin the Doctor. Anybody knows that entertainer?
Yes.
Right. I remember his career is kind of, I would say, in flux, because he has even though he has got a Grammy, he has never really been given that major platform or that kind of Jamaican respect. You know, we just concluded Bounty Killers. I think it was his 50th birthday, and Devin the Doctor was not there. All the major entertainers were there. So one of the things that he did very successfully, though, was to create a viral moment where he was given we call it rhythm in Jamaica, you know, in English it's rhythm, but he was given a Jamaican rhythm and he freestyled, and it went viral because people love the fact that he was able to kind of just spit lyrics off the top of his head. Another person who did that successfully too was Sensia, if that's how she pronounces her name. I hope I'm pronouncing it. Chensia, yes. I've been working from morning, yes, guys. So Chensia, and you know she's a past student of ACC, right? I don't know if you guys know this, but she's actually a past student of the school. And actually, when I taught public relations some years ago, my students created an event and she performed. But at that point in time, she wasn't the household name. Ninja Man was there as well. Ninja Man was the headliner for the event. We did something way back. This was when Haiti had you remember when Haiti had a major earthquake? And you know, people were donating and stuff like that. That was some years ago. I think it was in 2018. And my students actually got their press release published in the Jamaica Star. There was some amount of things, some amount of publicity surrounding it. So you're really creating some of those moments on behalf of the up and coming artists. It means that you will have to meet with them, understand who they are, understand their content. So remember, no, you're not going in there now with what I would call a moral hat, where you're going to say, oh, I don't want to hear this and this is not good. And that's not what you're doing. When you're employed as a public relations officer, it is your job now to, quote unquote, maintain and sustain the relationship between the performer, as is said on the course outline, and his audience, his fans, whomever these persons are. Yes.
When you say up and coming artist, meaning artist that is new, just up above, something like that?
Yes, but all the artists that you're going to work with are persons who already have content out. So it's not as if they have never done a song, or so most of them actually have their YouTube channels and stuff like that. So what you are doing is just trying to get them, quote unquote, a bus. All right, they don't have to bus, but in other words, there are some things that you must accomplish, and these are called key performance indicators. So when you develop a public relations plan, there are some things that you have short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. But of course, in terms of the short-term goals, what can you accomplish now? So all the things that I'm talking about are things that you can accomplish now. For example, getting them on radio or TV. That is something that you can accomplish now, because there are so many different platforms. It could be that you get them onto, for example, what's his name again? What's that YouTuber called again? That is always reviewing songs and videos and stuff. I can't remember his name now. What's his name? Nobody remembers his name?
Dotty Berry, sir?
Dotty Berry. It could be that you get the artist onto Dotty Berry, things like that. So there are different ways of how you can get the artist onto these platforms. All right, so I was just speaking about that in general. So the course description says the course introduces students to the principles of public relations, distinguishes PR from marketing and publicity. Very, very important. There's always this blurred line or blurred lines between marketing and public relations. But of course, as the PR officer, you have to know where your remit begins and where it ends. Continuing with the course description, it also gives them the tools to make written and oral presentations to audiences and potential clients, as well as provide students with the experience of preparing for and executing the launch of a product. All right, so the product in this case is the actual artist. All right. Outcomes of the course: appreciate the significance of PR to the performer, right type of materials used in PR. So you're talking, for example, about featured stories, about press releases, about company profile, things like that. Those are some of the things that are considered to be written types of materials. In your case, what you can do probably, instead of writing the featured story, you can create a kind of audio visual for the artist, for example, like a musical biography. You know, like ER, you know, you have entertainment report, and where they kind of give you a musical biography of the entertainer before they interview the person. That is something that you can actually do. Make a presentation to a potential client. In this case, the presentation that you're going to really do, and it's not really a presentation, it's really just to convince, for example, someone to put them onto a stage show, because they need to get them onto some sort of performative platform. All right, and it doesn't have to be Sting, or it doesn't have to be these major platforms. It could be something that is even done at ECC, where the student union puts on a what we call a lunch hour concert, and the artists themselves go there and perform. All right, prepare a press kit for various events. Press kit, yes, I'll teach you about the press kit, but again, the press kit will just be for the artists. Practice skills and techniques used in PR. We'll talk about that in terms of public speaking, writing speeches and stuff like that, and analyze public relation releases, which is really media releases. All right, how does it sound so far? Sounds fun or intimidating or impossible or possible? What are your thoughts so far?
Stress.
Stress?
Intimidating and interesting.
Okay, all right. I heard stress, all right. So when you're stressed, you're learning. My professor
I don't like the fact that it's surrounded only around artists.
Well, I agree with you, but in order, you see, several things I'm thinking about is the fact that we have a short, usually this course is taught over like 3 months, and this is a summer course. So it's very easy. It's much easier to do it in relation to entertainers, because there are so many opportunities now, so many events are going on. We're talking about festival songs, we're talking about everybody's kind of keeping a little show here, a little show there. So there are so many things that are being done, and in my estimation, it is one of the easiest ways, the easiest things to execute within the window that you have. All right, the other, when we get to the assessment part of the course outline, you can give me your thoughts about what you think about the other the options. All right. So unit 1, explain various definitions and so forth. So definition of PR, looking at the international and local history of PR, and looking at the roles and responsibilities of a public relations officer, and code of professional conduct, which is very, very important. I'm not sure if you have heard about several lawyers in Jamaica who have been disbarred, because according to the Bar Association of Jamaica, they have conducted themselves unprofessionally. And I'm not sure if you're also listening to the discussion about a code of conduct being developed for teachers, where there's now a new bill by the Jamaica Teaching Council that wants to regulate and really monitor teaching as a profession. And some teachers are very upset. The president of the JT is very upset. But of course, a professional code of conduct is very, very important, especially for persons who are in the business of managing images and managing the relationship between businesses and their respective stakeholders or publics. In unit 2, looking at the types of publics in PR, and looking at various examples, and really how sometimes where does PR fit into an organization. You know, you might have an organizational chart, and where, for example, is the Department of PR, the Public Relations Department, and how do they work in concert with other units in an organization. At Excelsior, we have what is called the Office of Marketing, Media and Communication. And at the top of that office, now they have changed it to a director of marketing, to a director of the person is the director of the OMMC, and under the director, you have the public relations officer, the marketing officer, you have the events and protocol officer. So there are 3 officers, and what are the different roles and responsibilities of, for example, the public relations officer, different from the marketing officer, different from the events and protocol officer. All right. And again, we look at ethics and public relations and just ethical concerns relating to public relations. In, for example, people being very unethical, putting out false stories. I'm sure you have heard about like disinformation or misinformation. You have heard about propaganda. So those are some of the things that will come under the discussion about ethics and public relations. Am I going too fast?
No, sir, I'm keeping
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Okay, good. For Unit 3, Public Relations Consultancy, this is where you kind of take a very active role. You're kind of working as a consultant for the entertainer, for the artist, kind of giving advice, developing strategy, developing, for example, action plans, developing a public relation plan, and then trying to execute, see what can be executed immediately. You have to write a budget, things like that. In the event that many companies, even for marketing, you always have what is called a crisis management plan. I'm sure you have seen several instances where companies in Jamaica, they have had their several types of crises. And it is really the public relation officer or a PR firm or consultant who has to come to the rescue. When Bounty Killer, for example, you remember that hammer incident when they said that he had beaten his girlfriend with a hammer?
Yes.
And right, it wasn't the angel, it was somebody, I think it was after the angel. And what he did after that, and I think he got some public relation advice, is just he went to anger management, and it was very, I remember when he did his interview on Nationwide, and it was very public. He also started, this whole charity thing, donating to Kingston Public Hospital. It was a way to kind of rebrand and to mitigate against the public backlash against him in relation to that. I'm sure an entertainer now who is going through that crisis is Slim Ross. What's his name again? The one that is allegedly associated with the Klangsman gang. Can't remember his name. Ioctane, right? You know that he's in crisis mode because no local shows want to touch him. And corporate Jamaica is not going to touch him either, because in their minds, if you touch him, then people are going to say, oh, so you're endorsing or you're in full support of what he was allegedly engaged in, right? So let's just say that he comes to you as says to you that, what kind of crisis management plan can you develop to kind of rebrand my image? All right. And so you see where public relations now play a significant role in terms of crisis management. All right, because he's going to get less bookings. He's not going to get any kind of collaboration or any kind of deals from corporate Jamaica, and many entertainers, that's where they get their money. If you notice, for example, many of the shows, local shows that have happened in Jamaica, I don't remember seeing Ioctane on the stage. Bounty Killer's birthday, I don't remember seeing him. I know it as Alkaline stuff. Alkaline has an event. I think it hasn't gone as yet.
No, it's coming up.
It's coming up, and I don't remember seeing Ioctane on the flyer. I don't remember. I was at. No,
he's not on the flyer.
He's not on the flyer, right? And there's a reason for that. Nobody wants to touch him at this point in time, right? Because of the alleged association with the Klangsman gang. So what would you have done, or what would you do in that case as a PR consultant? All right, so you see where PR becomes very, very important. And one of the things that you will learn to appreciate, that not because you're doing PR in relation to entertainers, you're learning public relations skills that can be applied outside of that. It's just that in this case, you're working for it. Let's just say that you're employed by a record label, and they say to you, okay, you're a PR consultant, go out and push our new artists, right? But it's the same set of skills you'd use to and apply if you were employed in another situation, whether you're employed by a university or in the banking sector or in at a film studio or wherever. All right, it's just really the skills that I will be teaching you in order for you to apply. them accordingly. The planning the public relations program, this is now where you're, as I said before, you're going to develop the image, the plan for the artists, and different the images and so forth. Let me show you an example. Probably I just need to just quickly show you an example of something that was done. Is it in this folder? No. Something that was done by my students at US some years ago. Although they really did what was called it's really entertainment marketing, but it's kind of the same idea. It's just that it's PR. That was marketing. This is no PR. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
So this is CR. Yes, CR3. This is actually a up and coming artist, and what they developed for him was a strategic plan, right? And they kind of went through and did a lot. They had to write a lot of the stuff, management team, what they were doing. They had a mission and vision. They had all kinds of stuff for the artists. They did a SWOT. This, of course, was based on the many meetings I had with the entertainer and based on their own research on the current environment of the music industry, their goals and objectives, the implementation plan. And they targeted certain radio stations depending on the kinds of artists they were going after. This is one. Another one I can show you is, that was CR3. Is this it? That's CR3. Yes, they actually had a budget, which is something that you also will have to create your budget in Excel. Come on, open. Did I? Oh yes, it's open already. So here they developed their this is for Jelani. Here they developed a budget for their entertainment marketing plan, and they were telling us specifically what they spent, the platforms you're going to use, and all of that. So this was the budget. Let me just show you something else. Yes, this is Jelani, and he was the one that actually changed his name. This is actually a good friend of mine. He's actually a math teacher. He called himself originally Bush Doctor, and they were like, no Bush Doctor business. And they changed his name to Jelani Music. And I taught this course with Dr. Shelley Morgan, who actually now lives in Canada, ironically. And this is their plan that they developed for him. And I can show you to where they actually, what they executed for him. I think there's a part that speaks of that, because they actually not only had to just develop the plan, but they actually had to execute. And they did, he was on TVJ, right? This is the execution. A short-term contract was implemented with the business club, Diamonds Jamaica. Tori Haber Photography, they were the ones that rebranded him. This was actually a student.
You have a book there. Put on the book on their schoolwork.
Mute your mic, please. He was on TVJ. They got him onto TVJ. Sorry. That's okay. He was on, got some amount of listenership from Sun City. And I actually know the business development officer for Sun City because of when I was the head of marketing and I had to do all kinds of promotion on behalf of the college. Yeah, so they were able to actually deliver. And here they have their KPIs, in other words, their key performance indicators indicating what they had accomplished over the period of time. So it's not something that is very difficult, all right? And what I want, my objective here is for you really to get hands-on experience in the course, because it's a course that you do. It's not just about writing stuff. It's really a course where you're actually executing, right? When you're doing a public relations course, a marketing course, a digital marketing course, it's more execution than theory. A lot of it is execution, all right? Press relations, here, you're going to write press releases, press kit, and all of that. I will show you some examples. You can have what are called audiovisual press releases if you don't want to necessarily just write it. I know some radio stations, what they require, even when you're sending a press release, they want an audio as well, because sometimes what they will do is just to play the audio, or if, let us say that you're quoting Mr. Fillmore McCarthy, the principal, the press release is about some new building donated by, Jamaica Constabulary Force to Exeter Community College, they want you to send an audio as well so that they can actually play the voice of the principal. So we'll go through that as well. And as you realize, we'll spend some time on that, probably about 3 weeks or 15 hours. Trends in public relations and the performer, we'll look at what is happening and how, for example, the new kinds of digital platforms that are there. TikTok is now on the scene. It's far more influential than before. You can reach far more people within a short space of time once you put out content that is really engaging. All right. So this is where the methods are of assessment comes in. When I spoke to Dean Black suggested using the RTs, the up and coming RTs as one thing. I saw this, I was not. So the practical exam would be what you would be doing in terms of working with the artists and then coming up with a public relations plan. The option 2, which I'm not going to do because I think it's going to be too much work, is to do a product launch or a PR for charity. I think that's going to take a lot of work. I don't know what you guys think. Let me hear your perspective.
So can you tell us some more clarity on what the PR charity would be about?
You would have to find a charity and develop a public relations plan. Well, it's not just developing a public relations, but you'd have to actually accomplish something on their behalf. Would that be getting more donations or doing something for them?
So it would be like, say, if we're mustard seed, we'll like keep, like, for example, like a treat or something for the kids, something like that, to bring public or something.
Well, I don't know that keeping a treat it's not that public relations is not just about keeping a treat, right? Is it that, for example, you could get them to get funding from massive funding for some kind of project or something like that? I don't know that keeping a treat would, I would not give you grades for just keeping a treat. Anybody can keep a treat. You don't even need to do PR to keep. I, for example, go into Tivoli and say, I'm going to keep a treat tomorrow and I'm going to give away ice cream. Everybody will turn up because people love freeness. You know, I think it has to be much more public relations involved than just keeping a treat. I hope I've clarified for you in terms of that.
Sir, what about the practical examination?
What about the?
Number 2, the practical.
So the practical examination is what I'm talking about in terms of working with the entertainers, developing their public relations plan, as well as executing aspects of the plan, which is what I was talking about earlier and what I shared. And that is what is called a practical exam. So it's not because it says practical exam, it means that you're going to go and sit and write something. It's something that you'll be doing over time. Because this is not an exam course, as you realize, it's not an exam course.
We don't have a final exam for this course.
I doubt it. I know this is not the latest course outline, but usually this course does not have a final exam. The final exam is really whatever you have executed.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason I'm speaking about the assessment so early is that you'd have to hit the ground running as of next week, you know, starting to meet in your groups and starting to think about the ideas. In terms of the artists themselves, I already have their numbers. They're expecting your calls and everything. So they're already they're actually waiting on you to make contact, because I've already reached out to them to say, okay, my students from Excelsior will be reaching out with you, make time to meet with them, blah, blah, blah. They're going to give you access to some of their content, stuff like that. Somebody was about to say something, go ahead.
Oh, yes, sir. I was just saying I could send you the latest version of the course outline tomorrow.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I've also requested it from Dean Black, but I would appreciate if you send it as well, because I need to share it with everybody. No, I thought it would have been on Canvas. I went there, it's not there. So thanks in advance.
Sir, is this a class effort or how much the group entails for this?
All right, so each group has 5 persons. Each group will have 5 persons. So it's not, you're not going to be left on your own to do these things. You know, what the students did, and I think they who did something similar in the past, is that people had just different responsibilities. So they say, okay, 5 of us, all right, you focus on this, I focus on this, you focus on that, you focus on that. And then we you know, they created their own little WhatsApp group. They had their little meetings. Sometimes they would invite me into the meeting, or they'd say, boy, so, you know, say John Tom is not contributing or Mary Jane is not contributing. How can you help that person to contribute to the group or stuff like that? So you're not going to be left alone to do the thing. All right, you'll be guided along the way. I'm going to actually come in and ask for progress reports, make recommendations, and the entertainers themselves, they know the business. They know the business. So you're not talking to persons who don't know the business. These are persons who are already performed on different platforms. All right. So you're not going into with persons who have no idea about what they're doing.
Sir, did I hear you mention that we have to use our own money?
I don't know that you necessarily. I don't know that you necessarily need to use your because usually PR you don't pay for it. In public relations you really don't pay. Because of what is happening, or sometimes you have to pay. But what people really do is to call on the kindness of their contacts. You know, people have connections all over. So people go, for example, one of the groups, one of the student, she was a photographer. So she just used her talent as a photographer to create, to change the image of Jalani. So it could be that, so I'm not recommending that you go and quote unquote spend money. I know that when I did the course at Excelsior in 1 year, what the students did, they actually asked for donation. So they actually went out, they created the donation letter, and they would go to, like, most students went to their companies and just say, could you give me this, give me our co-workers and stuff like that. So if there's a need for that, then of course that's the route you would go, but not necessarily using your own funds.
Okay, so another question.
Okay. Yes.
Group work. So are you going to place us in groups, or we're selecting our group members ourselves?
What I'm going to do, I'm going to allow the system to place you in groups. So it is going to be very arbitrary, so that sometimes that works. I don't like to put students in groups because I don't want any student to say, oh, sorry, you put me in this group and I don't work well with Mary or Jane or Tom. So most times I just allow Zoom to generate the groups.
Sir, I don't think you answered Benny's question when she asked if the artists are, if there any gospel artists.
Could you ask it again? I didn't hear it so clearly.
I think Benny's asked if there's any person, any entity gospel artists.
If what? I didn't hear it because of the noise in the back. Yeah.
So she's asking if any gospel artists in the batch of artists that you have.
No, is it that you have I don't have a gospel. Is it that you have a gospel artist?
No, I'm assuming because she's a Christian or some
some persons are Christian, so I'm wondering if you cater for those persons as well. Because
so if you have a gospel artist, I don't have a gospel artist, but I know sometimes that Christians, sometimes they are willing to work with artists who are more Rastafarian because their music tend to be much cleaner. But if it is that you have a gospel artist, I know that you have raised it, I'll try and see if I can find a gospel artist. I can't think of, I probably can find, because I used to actually be Adventist, so I probably can find a gospel artist. And you do have dancehall gospel artists, you have reggae gospel artists, you have, what we call very R&B gospel artists. So I think I'll try and find, but if it is that you have a gospel artist, that would be perfectly fine. Once you can give me the contact and I vet the person, I can see that they have some amount of content out there that that could be a part of the mix as well. Okay. All right. Yes, go ahead. No, man, go ahead.
The person in the group asked a question, if it is that them only have them group of 5.
I don't know, as I said before, in relation to the groups, and I'm seeing now 28 students. On my list they said 19. So I'm now seeing, so probably I actually need to increase the number. Tell me what you guys, do you guys want to put yourselves into groups, or is it that you want me to use the system itself to generate the groups?
Many of us would have had
put yourselves in groups.
previous years.
Because some of us are coming from different classes and we know each other already.
Okay, so you prefer to put yourselves in groups. All right, fair enough. So let's work on putting ourselves in group. Let's increase the group number to all right, give me one sec. Let me just do one quick calculation because I know I'm seeing 28 persons. And that was never the number on my list. So
you might have to wait up better than cannot everybody realize the class that school start this week.
Yeah, exactly. And it might actually go up, right?
Yeah.
It might actually go up. All right, let's work with groups of for this major project, let's work with groups of 7. All right, groups of 7 for now. Groups of 7. And then eventually I'll ask you to actually give me the names of the persons in your groups and stuff like that. All right. But let me just go through my list. Any more questions before I move on? No. All right. The other thing, let me stop sharing screen. The other thing that I want to touch on, so we kind of went through the course outline. This is optional. I usually, a student sometimes requests a WhatsApp group. I am not opposed to the WhatsApp group. I'm not sure what you guys think. If you want us to form a WhatsApp group that is specific to the course so that you guys can have, raise questions and ask, raise questions, ask questions in the group, or, send reminders about different assignments. Sometimes it is that I might have an issue and I have to post in the group to say, guys, I'm on the subway or I'm on the bus, I'm almost home, or, something like that. So usually we create a WhatsApp group. I'm not sure if you guys are opposed to that or if that is okay with you.
Yes, that is okay.
That's okay. All right, so we need somebody who is very tech savvy to do that. I am not that person who can just create a WhatsApp group and then you share the link in the chat, and then we'll just click on the link and all of us will just join. And then whoever creates the group, you add me as an admin. All right. And then once we have the group, then I'll speak to the protocols of a WhatsApp group in an academic environment, all right? Because, you have persons who they're posing motivational and inspirational things that, and I don't want any of that in the group, all right? I'm very...
Create it now?
Yes, I would love, if you can create it now and share the link, that would appreciate it.
Okay, give me 2 minutes.
Yes. All right, so while he is, I think this is, while Romario is creating that for us, do I touch this yet? Okay, let me not touch this yet. The other thing I want us to be very mindful of is that there are times when it is required that we at some point in time appear on screen, so I can at least see who I'm teaching. All right, when I'm the only one on screen, I don't know who I'm seeing pictures. I don't even know if these images are you. So at some point in time throughout the course, I'd love to see at least 1 or 2 classes that you turn on your cameras. Fair enough, everybody? Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, because I remember one year I taught a class, this was in the height of COVID. And then I actually went to Jamaica because I was actually in Canada at the time, came to Jamaica, came to the campus, and a young man walked up to me and said, what's up, Wagwan, sir? I was like, okay, yeah, what's going on? And we were there talking. And then he said, sir, you don't know me though. I said, no, I don't know you. And then he said, oh, it's robbing Bill. I'm like, oh, that's you in my class, because he never ever turned on his camera. So I didn't even know how he looked. All right, so we want to even though we are virtual, we want to personalize the experience. The other thing I want us to be very mindful of as well is that just be conscious of trying to, I don't know if you know how to activate the noise cancellation on Zoom. And if you don't, most times it's best if you just mute your mics. And I know that, many of us are mothers and fathers and wives and husbands and concubines, and we have all kinds of stuff going on at home. But just try to mute your mic so that we don't disturb the equilibrium of the class. All right, I'll try to do that. I think my noise cancellation, it should be on to prevent other sounds from you hearing other sounds, because I do have roommates. But just be mindful of that, guys, that we are not disturbing the class in general. All right, the other thing I want us to do quickly is to visit Canvas. I think I had gone on to Canvas. Yes. So I'm going to share screen again. All right, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, so it's not populated yet. I was actually speaking to Dr. Malcolm, the vice principal, Dr. Malcolm Walker. Usually there are actual lectures here. I was asking her, is it that I must upload lectures? Because usually they come populated and then I can add my information. Nothing is here yet. So I have my notes, I have my lectures, but because this is a triple CJ course, they should actually provide you with some, at least some foundational notes, lecture slides. So I'll do that event. I'll populate it over time. The other thing I wanted to be mindful of is discussions. All right, you're going to actually do some discussions. Is normally 150 words, 150 to 200 words in length. It's never normally long. All right, so you're going to do about 5 discussion questions. It will all be in relation to what is covered in the course. So the first discussion question, which is due on, I think it's due, when is this thing due again? Because I created it, I can't. Until June 29, yeah. It says using 150 to 200 words in length, write about at least 3 reasons for netiquette and its importance to virtual learning. You must comment on at least 2 of your classmates' responses. So first of all, you're going to write your own views on netiquette, and I'm going to, for persons who don't know what netiquette is, we're going to talk about it in a few minutes. And then also, as is expected, you're supposed to comment on 2 of your classmates' responses as well. And it can't be that you just comment and say, hi, Marsha, I like your views on netiquette. It has to be a little bit more than that, all right, guys? And it's a way just to keep abreast of what is happening in the class. As I said, 5 discussion questions, and they will be graded. You'll get a cumulative grade, and it will be based on what we have covered in the class, all right? So it's not going to be anything that is very difficult for you to go do massive research or anything like that. It won't be anything like that. All right, so just pay attention to the discussion part as the course proceeds. I will populate the modules and other parts of the courses, other parts of the course shell that is relevant to us. I don't think there are any files, right? Okay, these are just not things that are specific. These are just general or generic information about APA and stuff like that. That is not specific to public relations. All right, any questions in relation to this? Any questions?
There's a question, sir, but I posted the link in the WhatsApp chat.
Okay, all right, so we should be all be joining the WhatsApp group. Let me go back to sharing. All right, so usually if you're using if you're on your laptop, you know WhatsApp web, you just click and it says, looks like you don't have WhatsApp. I do have that. Let me just see what's happening. I do have that thing because I do WhatsApp every oh, you can use WhatsApp web actually. So if you don't want to use the, let me just see what opens up. Join. So I see that 16 persons are already in there, which is it? Yeah. So many persons are there already. I think you have an icon that says public relations, which is very good. Romario, can you just make me an admin as well, please? Thanks. I'm Dr. Moss. The one that says
Okay.
Dr. Moss? Yeah, that's me. I don't use my actual name or anything. You have far too many. I have some cousins in Jamaica. They're always trying to seek me out on WhatsApp. So I'm incognito. All right. So as I said before, in relation to the WhatsApp, just information that is relevant to the course or relevant to college life. For example, if it is that you're trying to get into a class and you can't get the link, you can ask that question in the group, even if it's not public relations. But once it is college related, let's just say it's principals or whatever it is, final exams, stuff like that. And if I see like a job posting that I think is relevant to anybody who, for example, some persons, your HR, you're focusing or your major is hospitality and entertainment management. If I see something that I think can help you, I might just post it in the group. But we don't want any good morning and any motivational this and any Bible verse, or we don't want any of that. All right. Those things just motivate yourself and your family members. Just not, let's keep those things in our private life, not in our college life. All right. Venice, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce your name. Go ahead. I see your hand is up.
So you have to have WhatsApp on your laptop for you to have access to it?
No, you can use
link?
WhatsApp. No, you can use WhatsApp web. So you just type web.whatsapp.com. And yeah, and it usually gives you the option. All right. Okay. So thanks, Romario, for creating the WhatsApp group for us. Really appreciate it. So we did that. I'm just going through my checklist. We did that. All right. Usually we have consultation time. As I said, that's going to be a tough one. But the consultation time would have to be on a Tuesday after class, because it's actually 9:19 in Canada now. And actually I have a job interview in the morning for which I have not prepped any at all. So you can imagine the stretch I'm under. So after class or probably we can use some time like the last 15 minutes or last 20 minutes of class time going over into after class just to do some amount of consultation, which means consultation just means, Ms. Harris, can you lower your hand, please? Thanks, unless you have another question or comment. Consultation just means where you might have some questions for me, you want me to meet with, let's just say that you're working on your group project and you want me to meet with you, we can just meet. Romario, my name is Dr. Moss. I'm Dr. Moss. That image that you see, you're not going to see my name. My name is not there. So I am Dr. Moss. Where's the web thing? So you will never ever see, let me see if it comes up. Public relations. Let me just share screen quickly and show you something. All right. All right, so here I am, okay? Dr. Moss. So this is me. As I said, I don't use my name on WhatsApp. So even my family members, when they put me in these when my cousin added me to a group, nobody knows it's me. They talk too much. All right. So consultation is last 15 minutes or so on a Tuesday, going over into the time after class, okay? And I'm sure you guys are familiar with consultation time. Are you familiar with the concept of consultation time?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, good. So again, when you start working on your group projects, you can just, say, sir, we have some ideas or we're having some challenges or whatever, and we can meet and talk, and I can talk to you as a group. If there are any group issues, please do not come to the class itself and discuss it. Just book some time with me for consultation and I'll talk to you as a group. We don't want to have, everybody hearing the politics, the internal politics of the different groups. All right, those things can be quite poisoning. So if there are issues or if you need ideas or any kind of support, just book some time for consultation and we will have a conversation, all right? The textbook, I've emailed the library to find out how is it that you can gain access to the textbook. You should have, I don't know, well, you guys are online, but I don't think do you go into campus, go to your main campus, go to your campus at any point, physically go to the campus?
No, sir, unless it's
right, no, right. So I've requested an electronic copy of the textbook. So once I get that from the library, I'll make it known to you, and I'm hoping that you are also registered to access textbooks using the virtual library, quote unquote. I spoke about discussion. We spoke about assessment. The other part that I don't think I mentioned about assessment. Let me go back to that on the course outline. Okay. Where is it? This is right. So outside of the practical exam, you also have verbal presentation, press release, a press kit for an event. All right. And again, no, we will work that through We'll work out some of that during the course. I'm going to allocate 10 marks for discussion. So you're going to do 5 discussion, 2 marks per discussion. So I'm going to allocate 10 of the 40 marks here to discussion, because discussion is important just to keep you abreast of what is happening in the class. All right. That's discussion. We spoke about the major project. Oh yes, in terms of accessing the lectures now, the recordings, I should say, the easiest way that has worked for me is that students use let me see if this is my, they just subscribe to my YouTube channel and all the recordings are there. Let me just see if this is the one. Yeah. So I have lectures for all the courses, because this is not the only course I'm teaching for the summer. I'm also teaching a course called International Business. I teach academic writing. I've done so many different things. All right, so I'm going to give you, why can't I? You can just click on this link and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And so each time I get the recording, I'm just going to upload it to YouTube. All right, and you go there and you access the lecture. Okay. It works, people, it works. The students have been using it. All my students in the past have been using it. It has actually been very, very good. You can access it on the bus, in the taxi while you're driving. You don't have to think about space on your phone because it's too large, you know, stuff like that. YouTube will house it for us. All right, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes or so just to subscribe. Let me know when you have subscribed so we can just continue our discussion.
Sir, apart from YouTube, do you place it on Canvas?
I don't really.
Data, sir.
I don't place it on Canvas, but if you want to access it that way, I can do that as well. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me know when you finish subscribing, guys. Let me just check. Usually I get the notifications about. Has anyone subscribed yet?
Sir, I did.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right, so as I said before, it's the easiest way to get the lectures, all right? Yeah, easiest way to get the lectures, the recordings, I should say. The other thing I'll introduce you to is anybody has ever heard about Turnitin? Have you guys ever heard about Turnitin?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's go to Turnitin. Okay. So this is a YouTube channel. So if you look videos, these are all my lectures. This is COM1. This is my group. I call them psychology because I had 2 groups. So this was what would they call again? SC was what again? Supply chain. So these were my supply chain students, and this was my liberal arts students. I taught oral communication. This is principles. Oh, this is when I was in charge of marketing. All the lectures are there. This is when I taught. This is academic writing. So all my lectures are there, and the students go and you know the views go up when they have exams or when they are revising. So it's very easy for us for you to access. So I just use this as a kind of hub. And you might find information that is even not specific, that I'm not teaching you, but you might be doing the course. Principles of marketing. So this is when I taught principles of marketing. I think digital marketing probably is there as well. International business. So all the lectures are here. All right. And this is research day. Yeah, so it's very, very easy for you to kind of just access the lectures there. It makes all our lives much easier in terms of accessing lectures. All right, so Turnitin, no, this is Turnitin, and we'll get into Turnitin, but I just wanted to show you. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Turnitin is taking some time to load. Doesn't usually take that long to load. Okay. Lanice, you were asking about what's the name? What name are you asking about again? Lanice, are you there? You posted a question in the chat, so I'm just kind of trying to answer it. All right, we're not hearing from her. All right, so this is Turnitin, and what Turnitin does is to ensure that when students do their assignments, it checks for similarities, just to make sure that you're not plagiarizing. So why is my Turnitin does not have my credentials? Why am I logging into Turnitin? It's supposed to automatically be there. Right, so if you look here, these are the courses that I've taught over time. Supply chain, com one, you know, all of these are courses that I've taught at UA, different places. So for your press release, for example, that will have to be uploaded just to ensure that persons are, you know, being honest in terms of academic integrity. So I'll walk you through the process of how this works. These are students who have uploaded their assignments. It tells me the similarity index. Once you see the color changes from green to yellow, it means that the similarity index is too large, and you need to reduce it by going back into the material and reducing that. So as I said before, I'll walk you through Turnitin in terms of how it works. All right. So all written assignments will have to be uploaded to Turnitin. In addition to, it's not just checking for plagiarism, it's also a way for both of us to kind of archive the information, just in case students might say, oh, sir, but I did submit my assignment. And then I'm going to say, okay, did you submit it to Turnitin? Because I don't accept emails. If you email your assignment, I don't mark email assignments. All assignments must be uploaded to Turnitin. All right, to ensure that one, it is there permanently, and two, that there is academic integrity, or academic integrity was maintained in the document. All right. So, but as I said before, I'll walk you through that eventually. What I will do, let us take a 10 minutes break. We haven't taken a break. Let's take a 10 minutes break and then come back. Okay. So it's now 8:31 your time. So we are coming back at 8:41 and it's 9:41 my time. All right. Okay, guys.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. All right, we should be back. Just say hi again, everybody. If you can put it in the chat or if you want to say it verbally, so I know that you're still there.
Hi, sir.
Hi, sir.
Okay. Some people are like, so you're just killing us, right? By just wanting us to say hi. Oh God. All right. Right. So before we go, before we actually, and quickly, what I want you to do is to, if you know your group, then your group members, can you just put the list in the, if you can actually like write it down on a piece of paper or something and even post it in the WhatsApp group, or because I know some persons are, you know, you're coming from same classes or same courses and you're already in groups, but there are persons who are not in 4th year who might not know everybody in the class. So I want to ensure that all persons are in a group, and I think I upped the group number to, I said 7 per group, at the highest being 7. I think that's what I said, right?
Yes, sir. That's what you said.
Yes. So can we just use about 5 minutes or so just to, if you want to send it directly to me via chat, that's okay. If you want to put it in the WhatsApp group, I think you can do both. I think putting it in the WhatsApp group would actually help because at least everybody would know which group this person is in, so there would be no confusion. Let me give you another few minutes to actually do that, or you can send it in the WhatsApp group, preferably, and if you want to send it as well via email. I want to also just remind us about something called, anybody has ever heard the term netiquette? Are we familiar?
Yes, sir. That's it. The proper way of using the internet.
Right. So. Right. So when it's really, you know, when we're learning in an online environment, some of the do's and don'ts. So now I'm going to show you how I use Grammarly. I'm going to share a recording, a video of that. And I want for you to tell me, just give me at least 3 to 4 do's and don'ts of learning in an online classroom, okay? Let me know if you are hearing, did you heard that song? Did you hear that?
How you present yourself online.
We heard that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So 3 to 4 points.
How you present yourself online is how your instructors and classmates will perceive you throughout your online coursework. That's why it's important to understand basic guidelines for internet etiquette, also known as netiquette. These are some tips to make a good first impression. Address your instructor by his or her proper title, unless instructed otherwise. For example, an instructor who has earned their PhD should be addressed as Doctor. When in doubt, use Professor, Mr., or Miss. Be clear by adding a short and descriptive subject line to your email and discussion posts. When writing emails, provide the course number to the subject line so that your instructor knows which class you are referring to. Be concise when writing emails, but don't treat them like text messages. Use professional language. Avoid the use of slang and abbreviations such as LOL and TTYL. Similarly, use emoticons sparingly. While they can sometimes help portray emotions, they're not usually welcome in the professional environment. If you are asking for something, such as clarification about an assignment, be sure to say please and thank you within your message. Finally, proofread your messages by checking for any grammar or spelling mistakes before sending or posting. You want to make sure that your audience can easily read and understand your email. Therefore, avoid using unusual and colored fonts. Consider using a sans serif font, such as Arial or Helvetica. Use a font size that people won't have difficulty reading, such as 12 or 14 point. Be sure to reference your course syllabus for guidelines regarding font style and size for other assignments. Although you may think it's stylish, avoid using wallpapers and colored backgrounds. These may make messages difficult to read. Conclude your email with a respectful sign-off, such as best regards, sincerely, or simply thank you. Finally, consider adding a signature to your emails. Include your name, major, and return email address. Do not use profanity in an email or discussion post. It is inappropriate and could offend your audience. If you find yourself writing an email while upset or angry, save it and come back to it once you have had the opportunity to calm down and respond in a positive manner. Review it and eliminate any negative language before sending. Finally, avoid using all capital letters. On the internet, all caps often indicates yelling or anger. Always be respectful of your instructor and fellow students. Do not write hurtful comments about a fellow student's work, comments, or ideas. Keep an open mind. You will be taking classes with students who come from different backgrounds than your own. Be willing to learn about others' social and cultural norms and share your own. Choose your words carefully. Sarcasm and jokes can be taken the wrong way without cues from the teller's tone of voice and body language. Think critically before sending an email to everyone in your class or replying to everyone. Ask yourself if everyone really needs to see the message. If forwarding an email, out of respect for the original sender, make sure you have permission to pass on the message. Finally, do not send spam or chain letters to your fellow classmates. Instead, maintain professional communication boundaries. Be smart with what you share online. Avoid sharing too much about your personal life with fellow students and instructors. Be professional and courteous without being soul-bearing. If you're experiencing a personal struggle that may impact your coursework, you may wish to reach out to your instructor privately. Think twice before disclosing company information. Most workplaces legally require you to keep company information confidential. Remember, information on the internet is public. Once information is online, you cannot remove it. Also, don't forget that even what you write anonymously can be traced back to you. If you remember one thing, let it be this. Do not do or say online what you would not do or say offline. Please visit our website for more information about SD State Online.
All right, so what are some of the do's and don'ts of learning in an online environment or in a virtual environment?
All right, so I'll go first.
Go ahead.
One do is that you should address your lecturer accordingly. So whether it is by sir, ma'am, etc. One don't is that you should not use shorthand writing.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Hello, anybody else?
Sir, repeat the question.
Any do's and don'ts from the recording in terms of netiquette?
Don't type when you're angry.
Yes, do not send an email when you're angry. Yes, anything else?
Avoid certain jargons or word, what you call them when you minimize the words like LOL or
yes, like
OMG.
abbreviations.
Abbreviations.
Yeah, shorthands. Yeah.
Shorthand.
Well, it's more shorthand than abbreviation. Abbreviation is actually shorthand, yeah, because sometimes they might come across not as professional as they should. And you know, in Jamaica, we are very formal. Well, some people say we're very colonial in terms of Dr. this and Professor this and Mr. this, and in Canada, it's a little bit different. Everybody calls you by your first name. So when I'm teaching my student, I found it very strange when they called me Robin. I was like, don't call me by my first name. My colleagues were like, they were like, Robin, that's how we do it in Canada. So even if they're Professor this or Doctor this, most times they prefer to be called by their first name. Even today, I had a meeting, I chaired a meeting with a partner institution, and I was so formal. My boss was like, why was the meeting so formal? You had an agenda and you had this, and I'm like, that's the culture I come from. He was like, no, you don't need to do that. All right, it's a serious meeting, but you don't need to make it that formal. In Jamaica, it's a little bit different. So, but yeah, what I usually say to my Canadian students is just call me instructor, or they call you professor. So even though I'm not a professor in Jamaican sense of having a doctorate and having large publications, I prefer they call me that, because some of them they can't even call my name properly, so I prefer to be called that. So you can call me sir. Sir is good. You don't have to say Mr. Clark. You can just say sir. Sir, Mr. Clark, or instructor, whichever one works for you. Yeah, but it's always good, important for us to just be very polite, address each other with respect. You don't have to always agree with your opinion of the person or even of the group, but you can communicate your disagreement in a very polite and respectful way. Hopefully we are able to maintain that. And I'm seeing Shelly and Price. Is Shelly and Price Fraser here, or this is not Shelly and Fraser Price. This is just Shelly and Fraser. Shelly and Price. Just seeing the name. Miss Price, are you there? I am not sure she's there. Stephen Paul, I don't think you have said anything. Oh, hi, Miss Price. Stephen Paul, I don't know that you have said anything in the class. Stephen Paul, are you there? All right, so next class, I'm going to mark my register, okay? I'm going to start marking register because there are persons who are logging in and they're not physically here at class. All right, guys, we are going to finish up our introductions in our following class. Oh yeah, one more thing. Friday, I don't know why they put my class on Friday. Oh Lord, because Friday at 10 o'clock, sometimes I want to hit the road, it's summer, where I am, winter is like very long. So when you get summer, we try to enjoy it. Our next class is not Friday.
It's Thursday, sir.
Thursday.
It's Thursday. So that means it's International Business on Friday. Oh my God. Okay, then I'm going to change it. All right, so I have you guys on Thursday. Yeah, okay. So on Thursday, we'll finish up our introductions, but I wanted to get some of these things out of the way because they're very, very important. So one thing I want you guys to remember to do is to share your group members. Up to 7 persons per group. You can share it via email, send it via my email. I'll put my email in the WhatsApp group. Let me put my email in the WhatsApp group, and I'll also put the link to my YouTube channel in the WhatsApp group as well, just in case you didn't get a chance to subscribe, so you can get access to the lecture link to my YouTube channel. And people don't think that I'm using this thing to get some kind of money from YouTube. I don't get enough followers or subscribers to do that, and I have no interest of doing that either. My email address is robin.clarke@ecc.edu.jm. You can reach me there. Do not call me. You only send a message via WhatsApp, no calls. All right. As well as when you send a message in the WhatsApp group, guys, remember to be very polite. Persons might be doing other things. They can't respond instantaneously. I might be doing something else because I do have a full-time job. So just be very mindful of that. Work it out in terms of the logistics of the group. When I see you on Thursday, I'll introduce you to the entertainers, and then I'll try and search for a gospel artists. And if persons have an option or have up and coming gospel artists and they would want to share that as well, you can reach out to me before the class, like tomorrow or so forth, via WhatsApp. Just send me a message. And if I decide that we need to have a conversation over the phone, we can just agree to call each other. All right. All right, before we go, any other questions, any comments, concerns, queries? No, everything is good. All right, without further ado, have a very good rest of night. See you on Thursday.
Same to you.
Thanks, man.
All right, bye everybody. Be safe, be very safe. I don't know what's happening in Jamaica.
Thanks, sir. You too.
Yeah,
Bye, sir. You too.
All right, bye guys.